proper gentleman shit. How are you?
Good, brother. What's going on?
Yeah? Nothing. That was a cool set.
Just trying.
I've been here in a while.
Me neither. I just started coming back.
Yeah.
Yesterday was my first time in a long time.
Really?
A long time.
Seating changed.
Did it?
Yeah, they have those couches in the back now.
Oh, yeah. Those probably aren't the best idea.
Yeah. The light's cool, though.
Yeah.
The fucking neon thing or whatever that is. I've never seen that before.
You know what the problem with couches is?
What?
They're coveted.
Oh, yeah. So people want them?
They're better.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have coveted seats.
Yeah.
It should be like the Comedy Works in Denver, you know?
Everything's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the booths at the store we used to sell because they were coveted.
Yeah, it's coveted. Those are coveted spots.
Oh, why can I just be there?
I want to be in that spot right there.
Yeah, that looks better.
Put a velvet rope around an outhouse, and people can't wait to go and shit in there.
Dude, we used to seat the OR, and people would always like, well, I want to sit on the outsides. I'm like, if all of you sit out there, none of you are going to be even close to the comedian. You're all going to be in the outskirts of the show. There's going to be no one. You have to sit in the middle. They hated it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times you'll go to the main room late at night, and there'll be people sitting in all the stalls and sitting in the back stalls, like on the way to the back of the bathroom, and no one in the front. And you're like, this is crazy.
Hey guys, you can get closer to the thing you're watching.
I get it if you're comics and you just want to sit back there and watch. But there's a lot of the audience members like, oh, the booth's open. And they back up and they get in the booth.
Get into it?
Yeah,
it's finally their chance?
This. Like a bear that found an old bear den.
And they just cuddle in?
Yeah, I got a new den right here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the store is the most magical place on earth. I'm so glad I'm back.
Yeah, how long? How long?
Dude, it was 7 years.
7 years. I
came back because of a couple things. But the big one that I knew I had to come back because I had to be there for your special.
Thank you.
Like I had to.
Thank you.
It was just, you were doing your special at the store in the OR, and and knowing you from the time when you worked there to you doing a Comedy Central special, that was a triumphant achievement.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to come back.
Yeah.
Like, I had to be back for that. So I came the day before that, and I went to Roast Battle, and I got so energized. I was like,
fun,
holy
huh?
shit. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was so alive. Like, Roast Battle was so alive.
Roast Battle was crazy. I saw a good one. The Wave went against these triplet comics, these open micer triplet comics. And they were like, well, we did Kill Tony a few times. And Kill Tony's like, you did it once. And then we all started like, triplets, would you say Tony's a mentor of yours? And he was like, no, shut up. I don't know them. He kept trying to deny it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And then Jeff was like, dude, you guys are going to get destroyed by the Wave.
The Wave's so comfortable.
Yeah, but they won.
Doing it for so long.
These guys won.
Beat the Wave?
Yeah, they came out of the gates.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a colossal upset.
Wow, the Wave is so comfortable. Oh, so their ad-libbing skills are just top notch.
Yeah.
Wow, they must be good then.
No,
See,
I think they just
good?
landed it that day. Yeah, yeah.
Well, hey man, people have their moments.
Yeah.
That's one of the cool things about these up-and-coming guys is that they create something like Roast Battle, which didn't exist in our era.
Yeah, no way.
There was nothing like that.
A couple games, right?
Yeah.
But just an occasional comedy game.
Yeah, I mean, comics would fuck with each other, like joking around.
Yeah.
But no one ever roasted each other like that.
Yeah.
A battle, that was a genius idea.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Ah,
it's pretty fun.
it's so fun to go and watch.
Yeah.
It's so fun, and some people are so good at it. Like Earl Skakel is
Yeah.
a goddamn master at it. Did you?
You know that
see?
started as an impression of Tommy, and then just grew into
character?
yeah.
That's amazing.
Because Tommy was never there on Tuesdays.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah. So he's just straight he's just doing that, and then Tommy always had the racist claim around him.
Oh, right.
So he would do that racist version of that.
Right. Oh my God, that's right.
And then Tommy left, and people a year or two passed. People were like, I don't know who you're doing an impression of. New people came. They're like, who is that?
But it's so confident.
Yeah.
Did you see his roast battle on Comedy Central when he came out with no shirt on and he had the
I was
leather
there.
jacket on? That's right. You were there for that
Yeah,
one.
I was in Montreal for that one.
No. The one that was in L.A.
Oh,
Did
no.
you see him said it? Oh, my God. Dude, okay, that's right. I was being filmed. I was one of the judges that night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was me and I think Dane and I want to say Jimmy Kimmel. I think Jimmy Kimmel was there too. I know he was definitely next to me. And Earl Skakel came out and lit that fucking place on fire.
He knows about wrestling.
He was so devastating. He had no shirt on. He had a fur coat on. He had chains on and this crazy hat. And he had just this entrance. And he came in guns blazing and he hit every note. And he was so comfortable up there.
Yeah.
And it was something about like maybe even being in that character that made him like completely fearless on stage because he was like kind of in that.
Hell yeah, he's done a few of them now.
Dude, he's a beast. But that made me come back too.
He beat Jimmy Carr, who's like the reigning champion in Montreal this year.
Oh my God!
He did the Eddie Bravo thing where he beat the big guy and then lost in the next round.
Wow, that's amazing.
No one thought he could do it. He came out of the gate swinging. He came out because Jimmy Carr beats off a clipboard, right? And so Earl Skakel came out after Jimmy did with a clipboard of his own, and he just goes, "I don't need this, do you?" And he threw it into the crowd. And he threw the gauntlet down, and Kimmel like wouldn't let him get over it. He goes, "Yeah, why'd you keep reading your shit, man?"
Wow, he called him out.
Yeah.
I've never seen Jimmy Carr. I want to meet him though.
He's cool.
Hinchcliffe speaks really highly of him.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I want to meet him. I hear he's really funny too.
Oh yeah, for sure that too.
Yeah. It's a good time, dude. There's a lot of fucking funny people out there.
Uh-huh.
This is probably the best time ever, right?
For comedians? I don't know. We're all just in touch with each other.
Yeah, but I think like there's alternative guys are getting through, and when I say alternative, I don't mean like alt rooms.
Yeah.
I mean like guys alternative to what you could play on television, like you or like Diaz, are getting through.
Yeah, the system.
Yeah, getting through the system, like and turning out to be some of the funniest guys. Like getting through the system on your own merit now. It's like a totally different thing. Like guys like you and Diaz might have had a hard time getting on TV
because no sitcoms or anything.
Yeah, man. There's no fucking sitcoms anymore. And if you didn't have the opportunity to put your stuff out online, like man, this was like if you had to go back to the 90s, the way guys would make it is you'd get on TV. There was no other way around it. If you were super lucky, you'd do a Rodney Dangerfield special, and then you could be dirty.
Yeah. Then that was the only way you could be dirty?
Yeah, nobody else knew. Yeah, they had to know you were dirty.
Not now.
Not now. Yeah. I mean, how did they know you were dirty? They had to either have seen you before, or they had to know, oh my God, this is the guy I saw on that show on the HBO.
We had to bill me as dirty in Canada because they were like, he's too dirty. They won't like it. And so Justin came with an idea to bill me as the dirtiest comic of all time in Canada or something like that. I'm like, I'm not that dirty. He goes, I know, but we just say that. Right. And then they don't care.
Yeah, the dirtiest comic that ever entered Canada.
Something like that.
Barely clean enough to enter the country.
They wouldn't let him. It was just below extortion and just above.
They were thinking about not letting you in.
Well,
I don't know.
That's just pretty dirty.
Pretty fucking disgusting.
What's your opener? Tell me. Come into this room and tell me your opener.
Is there a way you could switch these words? We're having a problem with these words.
Yeah, I'm done now. All my work is finished now for a while.
For how long now?
Just recorded another special.
That's nice, man. I love that you're doing that. We got to put some pressure on Duncan Trussell.
He said he wants to do one.
I know. We got to put some pressure on him
to actually do one.
Make it actually happen. Yeah. He's too funny to not have something out there. He should have some sort of a special.
He was a little worried. He was like, well, what if people don't see it? I was like, then whatever. Then just move on and do new material.
What if they don't see it?
Yeah, they'll see it eventually.
Well, how would they not see it if you make it available? All you have to do is...
He would, but that shouldn't be what's holding you back from doing it.
But you can always put it on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. You can just put it on YouTube if you have to.
Yeah, if it's about people seeing it, for sure they're going to see it on YouTube, especially because it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how funny Duncan is.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just he's great on his podcast, and I think he likes the freedom that a podcast gives you because he's a pretty eclectic guy when it comes to like his interests. And
what are you talking about, Duncan?
Yeah.
All we do is watch college football together. Yeah, he's very weird.
He's pretty weird.
Yeah. I was laughing the other day about Bobby when Duncan confiscated all his pills. And Bobby's like, what are you going to do with them? When he was still using.
Right.
And Duncan's like, I'm going to do them all. So he's like, no, why do you get to do them? He goes, I don't have a problem. Yeah, I'm not going to throw them away. I'm to give you all of them. Yeah.
Isn't that funny that's logical?
Yeah. It's like, you don't have the problem.
But you hear that and you're like, oh, yeah, well, if you don't have a problem. Like, he kind of barely has a problem.
Yeah. Right. It's like, yeah, once in a while it gets in the way, but not all the time.
Yeah, he loves them, though. He's like, man, get him a fuck away from me. I love these pills. He loves
that and Warcraft. Let me ask you about this stuff.
Okay.
Do you mind?
Yeah,
I want to talk to you about hunting a little bit.
Okay.
Because you've been doing it. How long have you been doing it now?
4 years.
4 years.
Almost exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Remember your first hunt?
Yeah, for sure.
What? Hold on. I'll ask you that in a second, though. But how long were you thinking about getting in? Like, what got you in?
I was trying. Well, in trying to pay the most attention to all the shit I do, and am I doing things the right way, like in my life?
Yeah.
One thing that kept coming up was all these goddamn videos that you see online about like factory farming and these slaughterhouses and these chicken coops where chickens are stacked on top of each other. And I started thinking, man, maybe I should seriously consider being either a vegetarian or a vegan. Like maybe I should seriously consider removing myself from this. Yeah. Because I was like, this is just...
you watch those videos?
Yeah, man, they're real. Even if you don't watch those videos, even if like you're dealing with the best humane factory farm setup that's available today, it's still hell.
Yeah.
There's no good one. They're hell. They're stacked in. They have very little room.
Yeah, the free range chickens is not free range. Free range organic is just like they just not like stacked on top of each other, but there's no room to move either.
They don't. They're in a big pen and they all run around together. It's like it's chaos.
What's the one where you get the orange yolks?
Because they have to be eating. Look, they're not herbivores.
Yeah.
They're omnivores. Chickens eat meat, but they only feed them grains and stuff. When you get
really?
Them. Yeah.
What do they eat? What do you mean?
I fed a chicken a fucking mouse, man. I've seen chickens eat mice.
They eat sick chickens too.
Oh yeah,
they'll peck at sick chickens so they die.
Dude, they pecked at my daughter.
What?
And my wife was like, "Oh, it's just it thought that she was a worm or something like that." I go, "No, no, no."
Daughter's too big.
I go, "That fucking thing was seeing if it could eat her. That's what it was doing." Rita, we're doing a podcast. We'd love to talk to you, but we're in the middle of a podcast. Thank you very much.
Why was she back there? It's hilarious. Hi, Rita.
She's making gestures and shit. I was like, I'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. So they pecked at her, or they do the thing where they peck super hard but landed exactly where they don't barely touch you.
Dude, they're fucking trying to eat you.
Yeah.
I really believe that. I think their brains are super small, and I think if they got a chunk out of her and it tasted great, they would
keep going.
Try pecking at her if I didn't do anything about it. I guarantee you. Dude, I'm telling you, man, I dropped a mouse in their cage.
A dead mouse?
Yeah. No, it was still alive. It was called a pinky. Here's the story. It'll show you the hierarchy of nature because it's kind of a crazy story. We put up a glass fence in the back of my house, and hawks haven't figured it out yet. And so far, 3 of them have swooped down and fucking headbutted that glass fence.
Hawks?
And get KO'd. Like blood comes out of the nose, like they're laying out the yard, fucked up.
What?
Yeah. And my daughters found one. They found one.
Found a hawk?
Yeah. We've had 3 of them that have been KO'd in our yard. One of them flew away. One of them, he got back on his own, and he was like fucking completely disoriented and wiggling and wobbling.
Damn.
And eventually he flew off. And we have video of him, like we're talking to him, just standing in front of him. And he's no more than 15 feet away, and he's just looking at you like dazed because he just got KO'd.
A hawk?
Yep, just flew full blast into a fucking glass fence. Bang! Has no idea what happened, and is just lying on his back. And now he's looking at all these people, and he's trying to figure out, did you guys do this to me? Like, what the fuck happened? He really has no idea. And so this one, it had fucked up its wing, and we were going to have to take it to one of these wildlife sanctuaries that takes care of like wounded wildlife, like if it's like a hawk or an owl or something like that. So what we did was they told us that they couldn't take it until it was like 24 hours before they could take it. So we had to keep it alive. So you had to give it pinkies, and you buy these from pet stores. What they are is basically baby mice that have literally just been born. And this is what they feed a lot to snakes and things along those lines. So these tiny little...
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can't...
I see those on the streets in New York sometimes.
Ooh, really?
Like the hairless ones.
They can't see yet, and they're not, like... If they get away from their mother for too long, like they're dead. They can't eat.
Right.
Like you'd have to bottle feed them. Oh. Right? So they feed a bunch of them to this hawk. But one of them, the hawk doesn't eat. So when he was just full because he'd eaten enough. He just saved that one for later. And so when they dropped the hawk off at the wildlife sanctuary place, they still had this pinky. And so my daughter was like, I want to raise it. I want it to be a pet. I go, sweetie, it's not going to live. I go, it's not getting any milk. And we don't have milk for it. And I go, you were feeding them to the hawk, and now you want them as a pet? And she goes, I want to keep it. I go, sweetie, it's going to die. I go, let me just bring it back to the pet store. If we bring it back to the pet store, maybe it has a chance of living, because then the mother will eat it. Or the mother will let it feed off the milk, because it has the same mom. And just the whole thing was like so crazy. I was like, well, you were just feeding
How old's your daughter?
This one, she's 7. So
she was 3?
At the time, she was 7.
Oh.
So this happened a year ago. So when the the decision was made that I was just going to feed it to the chickens. I was like, look,
let's just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, have some fun with it.
Just the chickens will eat it. I saw them eat a mouse before. I saw them attack a mouse before they got into their cage, and they fucked this mouse up and ate it. So I knew what was going to happen.
Oh,
and I put
that should have been your first option before even giving it back to the pet store, feeding it to live chickens.
Probably should have been. It probably should have been because like it's gonna die most likely anyway, and the chickens are gonna eat it, and it's good for them.
What did it look like?
Dude, it was a slaughter fest. Wow. So that mouse was on the ground for literally maybe, I'm not exaggerating, a half of a second. I'm not exaggerating at all. The chicken just moved on it and grabbed it and then had to run with it because all the other chickens were trying to peck it out of its mouth.
Oh.
Dude.
What?
Dude.
And so we feed him grains and that's what fucks him up?
Yeah, we feed him grains. Yeah. Yeah.
Scotland, I got those real orange yolky eggs.
Yeah, those are herbivores.
Yeah.
Or rather omnivores.
That's what it is?
Yeah, they're eating bugs and worms and stuff. Like if you walk with my chickens and you pick up rocks, like if you lift up rocks, some of them, the smarter ones, will go towards that rock and then they go under because they know that when you're picking it up, there's going to be bugs under there for you. So like I'll be walking by the rocks, you could pick up a rock and the chickens will come by and just get under the rock and get the bugs. The really dumb ones just keep wandering around.
Do the coyotes get them?
Yeah. They have gotten them.
Oh, yeah.
They've gotten at least 2 of them. One of them that I saw. One of them just went missing, and I'm pretty sure it was either a coyote or a hawk. Could have been a hawk.
Okay.
And the other one, I saw the coyote jumping the fence with a chicken in its mouth. Yeah.
But they would just obviously take all of them.
Well, he couldn't. It was only one coyote.
Yeah.
And what happened was this coyote honey-dicked my dog. The coyote was hanging around, and my dog thought that this coyote was like his friend.
Because he would just chill for a while?
Because it was like hanging out like a dog, like right outside the fence.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, this is a dog too. Well, this is my friend. I see my friend every day. Just like I see my other dog friend, like the dog that's in the yard with him, the other dog. So one day, someone fucked up and didn't latch one of his gates correctly. So he got out of the gate, the coyote hopped the fence, and they met over by the chicken coop.
Oh.
And in chicken coops, there's one chicken that does a thing called molting. And when they molt, what happens is they have all this extra hair. Actually, the term I'm thinking of, I fucked it up. It's called brooding. And what brooding is they think that their egg is going to turn into a chicken. Yeah. But it's not.
Oh, really?
Because they didn't have sex with a rooster. So,
I thought they only sat on it if, I guess I was wrong. I thought they only sat on it if it was fertilized.
Anyway. They sit on them anyway, but they usually don't think it's going to hatch. They usually kind of know, and they get off of it. They know that they didn't get fucked somehow or another, and they know the egg's no good. But sometimes their brain gets fucked up, and it thinks that this is going to hatch, and then they start picking their feathers off, and they do a lot of weird shit. And you could either let them go through an entire 28-day cycle, or you take them out of the big pen, the big chicken coop, and you put them in a very small one. And you separate them, so it has to be on a perch. And you just do that for 1 or maybe 2 days, and usually it cures it, and they're not brooding anymore, and they go back and they act like normal. Because otherwise they abuse themselves. They pick all their feathers off to try to feather the nest, and they do all kinds of weird shit, and they don't move, and they get mad at you if you come anywhere near them.
Whoa, weird.
Yeah, they get real motherly, but you can cure them of it with this thing. So anyway, the coyote and Johnny, the big dog, they found that thing, and the coyote somehow or another tricked Johnny into smashing this, because Johnny's 140 pounds and the coyote's this little 50-pound thing. It's like, hey, we gotta get in there, man. There's fucking chicken in there. So my dumbass dog knocks over the chicken coop because he thinks he's having a good time with his friend the dog, and that coyote grabs that chicken, and I see it running across the lawn. So I go out, and by the time I'm outside, the thing's gone. It jumps over the fence like a ghost with a chicken in its mouth, and then my wife caught Johnny with a chicken in his mouth.
No way.
Johnny he killed one. He killed one and fucked up another one.
Because the coyote taught him how to be actual
The coyote was showing him how much fun it is to go fuck up chickens. So he's like, oh, this is what we do with my friend the dog. He doesn't know. He didn't get chickens until he was 9 years old or 8 years old.
You got to learn how to deal with them.
Yeah, he can't.
Whenever I see dogs with new babies and they're always friendly, I'm always like, how does that dog know? I would never just put my baby in front of a dog.
You can't trust them. They don't think that babies are people. They don't think babies are people. That's why you always hear about pit bulls mauling babies.
Really?
They think that baby's an animal.
Fucking dingoes at heart, man. So you in this extension of trying to get natural stuff, you decided like let's kill.
So this is
some
what
food?
happened, man. I decided I would start watching hunting shows, and that's where I watched this show called The Wild Within. It was like one of these subsistence shows where this guy Steve Ranella would do these trips that like the same thing that like Lewis and Clark did, where he would make these rafts out of a buffalo hide, and go down the river and use a musket to try to shoot an animal and show how difficult it was for these people who made their way across the country to have actually survived. And I was like, this is fascinating. And so I got to meet him. I had him on my podcast, and he just got me really, really interested in hunting. I'd been sort of peripherally interested in it for years, but he got me really interested in it. And then he proposed to hunt, and we went with him. And me and Callan went to Montana, and I shot a deer. On that hunt. And I remember thinking, well, this is the solution. Because I was down to one of two options. I was going to either be a vegetarian or I was going to be a hunter.
That's it.
I was like, I just can't. I could see.
What about those free range, like Whole Foods, where they say like whatever level of?
Yeah, I could see that. I see free range cattle. That's like my friend Doug Duran. You met Doug Duran. Didn't you meet Doug Duran? My friend from Wisconsin.
Where, I don't know.
Maybe one of our shows together. I feel like you did. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, he's a buddy of mine that lives in Wisconsin, and he has grass-fed cattle.
Really?
Yeah, and he takes care of them. They have this big place to wander around in, and they're delicious. And that's definitely better than the factory farm setup. Like if you can get your meat in that way, but you'd have to be free, like to be able to look at it and go, this is okay to me. You have to like really know what's happening to the animal. And if you do know what's happening to the animals in almost every factory farm scenario, you wouldn't be okay with it.
It's a horror show.
Every one of them is a horror show. And so I was thinking that in my mind, it was like, especially when I got really high, I would think, this is never going to change. Like this is just we're going to just keep sheltering people from the truth of how we get our animals and how we get our meat.
I'm not facing it.
I mean, that's why they have those ag-gag laws. They have laws.
What do you mean? To not let you see ads like that?
Ag-gag laws are laws that prevent people from filming inhumane activities.
What the fuck is that?
It's their crazy, corrupt laws. That's what it is.
That's crazy. Like you can't film the actual how they're doing it?
Because they're all so horrific that they would lose money. That if people were aware.
Yeah, well.
I know. You're right.
So what?
You're right. And they should definitely change it. It's just they're making so much money. The only way you can make a $2 burger, you have to. I mean, think about how much.
They always say GMOs is so because it feeds poor people. I'm like, all right, but why are the non-poor eating it? Well, then why are you serving it to everybody?
GMOs are a touchy subject because almost everything has been modified. Almost everything we eat. Corn used to be this tiny little thing that was like. The way Ranella describes it, he said it was like those little corns that you get when you get a salad, those little flexible, little tiny corns. That was what corn was like.
And so he said corn has no nutritional value.
Well, it's calorie rich. If you're just looking for a source of carbohydrates. It doesn't have a lot of nutritional value, though. No. But if you're just looking for carbohydrates, it can, definitely fuel you up. People. A bowl of bowl of cooked corn.
Yeah, corn should only be for the poverty-stricken.
Yeah. Well, it tastes good. It's yummy with butter.
It sure is.
It's not a bad food.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Oh, on the grill?
Yeah, it's just not super. It's like one of those weird grains that really you probably shouldn't be eating.
Yeah.
Fucking delicious, though. Corn on the grill. Wrapped in aluminum foil with butter and fucking salt.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Come on, son.
So you ever get one of those stands the Mexicans put with the shake stuff on it? Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. How come they're the only ones who figured out that like spicy?
Yeah, a little chili powder on the butter.
Trump's trying to get rid of the Mexicans.
You got to leave some of their stuff.
Their food is fantastic.
Can we use the Mexican research?
Food of all time. No one's even close. There's no one better than a real Mexican place like that place in La Jolla. That burrito stand
Ramiro's?
That has those chicken burritos that's near the condo.
Ramiro's.
Jesus Christ, that's good food.
Yeah, that's good.
When we come home from shows hammered.
Yeah, that's perfect.
To the La Jolla store.
Yeah, drunk. It was Denny's or that for a while. Yeah.
Fuck, that's 100% better than Denny's.
Yeah. So you shot your first deer and then was like, yeah, this is the way I'm going to go?
Yeah, right away. I knew right away. As soon as I shot it, I was like, okay. This is how I was looking. This is a wild animal. This animal might not have even ever seen a person until it saw me. It's entirely possible.
Where? Where was it?
It was in the Missouri Breaks. It's in Montana. It's called the Missouri Breaks. It's off the banks of the Missouri River. We took a canoe trip We took a bunch of canoes, 40 miles down a river.
In just a giant park, national park?
Well, it's all public lands. It's all an area you're allowed to hunt. You can just buy a tag. So that's what we did.
But no one lives there. There's no homes there?
No, you can't. You can't.
Show me on your map where this place is.
I could.
On Google Maps?
Take some time, though. Well, let me just describe it.
Okay, yeah.
I'll describe it. Well, this is the best way to describe it. The issue is that although it's near a river, what they didn't understand back then when they were first discovering this part of America is that it's the remnants of the Great Western Inland Sea. It used to be a gigantic inland ocean with like fucking megalodons and dinosaurs and shit. They find a ton of dinosaurs out in Montana. It's like a dinosaur. As a matter of fact, a guy I know, his friend had a ranch and a fucking paleontologist found a dinosaur on his ranch and he got $1.5 million for it.
Really?
Yes. They found a fucking full intact dinosaur.
Lottery.
Very partially intact dinosaur. But so the ground is like, you know that ground that's in the bottom of a lake where it's like silt, where it's not quite dirt. It's like mushy, kind of silty because it's just been there forever and it's been the bottom of a lake. That's what the ground is out there. So nothing grows in that shit. There's like some bushes and some small trees, but most of it is just mud. And occasionally you get some patches that sustained like forest growth, but there's a lot of it where it's just mud.
That's the Badlands?
It's called the Missouri Breaks.
Okay.
And
it's not the Badlands.
When you're walking around, like your boots get caked up with this stuff.
Yeah.
So they become 3 times as heavy. Like the bottom, it's like, it sticks to the bottom of your boot. So anytime it's even remotely wet out there, you're walking in this like incredible goo. And so nothing grew there. So they gave these homesteading parcels to all these people. So you find those old houses. So as we're going down the river, you would see a homestead. And you look over, you see the remnants of a building where some people tried to make it. They said, fuck it, we're going to get some cattle. The government's going to give us 40 acres if we just work it.
Because they gave it to them there. They're like, do something with it. Do anything with it.
You know, they're doing that in parts of Russia right now.
Really?
Yeah, they're doing that. I think Eastern Russia.
Why am I not
They were
getting
just
land in
talking
Russia?
about homesteading in Russia, but they would just give you a parcel of land. All you had to do was work it and make good of the land. They were just trying to inhabit these areas. So they encouraged people to take a chance, but no one made it in the Missouri Breaks. You couldn't grow anything. It just didn't last. You know, they last a little while, but they all eventually gave up. So now when you go down that river, you just see
abandoned homes,
rotten down old houses from the 1700s, 1800s.
Cool.
Super cool. And deer everywhere.
So then you shot one. Did you train on it beforehand? On how to shoot and stuff?
Not too much, because with a rifle, when you're shooting with a rifle, we did a few practice shots. He just sort of emphasized that you just have to center the animal in the reticle and squeeze the trigger very gently. You don't want to yank it. You want to.
That's all he taught you?
Yeah, basically taught me trigger control and where to hit the animal. With a bow, it's way more difficult. But with a rifle, if you have a steady rest and you understand to not punch the trigger, you want the trigger to go off by accident. You want to just pull, bang, and it goes off. You don't want to go bang. You don't want to like force it to go off, because if you force it to go off, you're going to jerk and you're going to move it offline.
You knew that before the first time you did it?
Yeah, he told me that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I talked to some people because I was really interested in like what I had to do, but I didn't get nearly enough practice as I should have.
Yeah.
Shooting, I maybe shot like 7 shots with a rifle.
That's it?
Yeah, we just shot at some targets. We set them up on the beach, and once I started hitting like pretty much the center, and he figured that I figured out what I was doing. He's like, "Well, let's conserve
7
ammo.
shots?
Like you got it." Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, looking back on it now, it's kind of crazy, but
from how far away? How far away is 7 shots?
We were practicing from about 100 yards away.
And you hit things from 100 yards away?
Yeah, with a gun. That's not that hard. It's pretty easy with a gun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a rifle has a scope, and the scope is magnified. So when you're looking down the rifle scope, even so, like I shot an elk just a couple weeks ago, and it was 287 yards, really far, and it hit it perfect.
Call of Duty?
Just like bang, it hit in the body. You don't want to hit it in the head. It's that if you miss, you blow their eyeballs out or something, or you blow their nose off, and they run away, and you never find them.
Oh.
You want to hit them in the body only. Nobody ever shoots anything in the head.
Have you?
No, I shouldn't say nobody, but
you're just not supposed to.
Super rare.
And then what? You just hit in the body and let it like fall down eventually.
If you shoot in the lungs, you go through both lungs. And they're dead almost instantly. They're
right away. They just fall over.
They run till there's no more air, and they fall down, and that's it. It takes a few seconds if you hit them right.
Have you ever missed one?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay? So hold on. So take me through that. I want to know what that's like. Where you get out there, you get like a shot. How do you decide? Wait, how do you decide who shoots it?
Well, that's depending on who you're hunting with. You have to decide that in advance. Most of the time, you would go like depending on whether or not you had a guide or whether or not you were going with buddies to do like a buddy system. Like you would help each other. Like you would say like you're up today. Like say if you and I went, and we were both hunting, I'd say, look, this is what we do. Today you're up, and I'll depending on what kind of hunting you're doing, like say I'll glass over in this area for you, meaning I'll look with binoculars in this area, and you look in this area that will cover more territory. And then once you find the animal, then we'll make a plan to try to move in on it, find out where the wind is going. There's a lot of things that have to come up. You have to really be careful about your wind. You want to make sure your wind is never drifting down towards the animal because they can smell you hundreds of yards away.
So if you see one that's downwind,
you're fucked.
You just can't get to it.
Well, most of the time. Every now and then, it doesn't. There's no real logic, just like with people, to animals. There's general rules.
Yeah.
And the general rule is an animal smells you, they'll bolt. But occasionally they don't. Just occasionally they smell you and they look at you. Maybe they never smelled a person before.
I saw a deer I was in Rosemont, Chicago.
Oh, yeah?
They had a little like hike behind the place. So I just went and I saw a deer back there, and he just like looked at me. He was pretty close too, and I just kept. I was like, "Oh, it's like pretty." I just imagine you jumping out of the bushes and like, "Kill it, kill it," and just like stabbing it with an arrow.
I wouldn't do it that way, but it happens pretty quick. They shoot something with an arrow, it's almost quicker sometimes because they bleed out so quick.
It's so big.
Well, there's a difference between like a gunshot wound creates a lot of trauma and shock, and it blows things apart, but what an arrow does, it's like a samurai sword that slices through everything. So they bleed, like almost instantly, they bleed out.
Yeah.
A lot of times they have no idea what happened. They just felt a sharp pain, and then all of a sudden they're running.
What the fuck?
And they don't know what happened, and they're down, and it's over.
Wait, so you hunt this deer.
Yeah.
You and your buddy, you're up today.
Yeah, this is how you would do it.
One of you fucking says, "I got one."
Yeah, you see it, and then you would try to figure out how to get to it. You would try to, depending on where the animal is, like if the animal was bedded down, like it was in some bushes bedded down, what you would do is you would try to get to a position where when it got out of its bed, you would be ready.
Oh.
So you'd be, because they all do that. They bed down during the day, they take naps, and they sort of like, they're always awake. They was just sort of looking around, and then when it starts to get dark, then they get up and start walking around and feed. Oh. And so you want to be ready for when he gets up. And a lot of it is a guessing game. You got to guess he's going to go this way.
We found one of those beds in Banff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see them all over the place.
Yeah, I was worried it was moose.
Could be.
It could be moose.
They're scary.
Yeah, I was like, guys, don't go in there. But they all wanted to go in and look at it.
Those are the only ones you have to be worried about. Those are the only ones that'll fuck you up. Like an elk, if they're horny and they're in the rut, it's totally possible that an elk might charge you or headbutt you or something.
What if you're near their kid? Or
they'll be gone. You'll never get that close. They're not like bears. Bears fuck up. Like bears would be like curious and shit, go down the wrong road, and all of a sudden there's a hiker. That shit does not happen.
And like, well, I guess I got to kill it.
Deer hear you, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. Doing, doing. They just bounce away. Bears aren't scared of shit. So when they hear things, they don't think, "Oh, this is a person coming to eat me."
They're just like something over there.
They just think, "Oh, there's something over there I might eat later." And then all of a sudden there's you, and they don't know what you are, and they're near their babies, and they're like, "You know what? I'm not taking any chances," especially a female. Like a female bear near her cubs is one of the most dangerous things.
You just run. As soon as you see a baby cub, you just get the fuck out of there.
Definitely back up. Definitely get out of there. Definitely get out of there. You see a cub, get the fuck out of there.
You see that video of that guy that got attacked by a bear? Of course you did. Of course you did.
Yeah.
And then he said he got attacked again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same one. And he couldn't get to his gun. He had to play dead. That bear fucked him up, man. Grizzlies are terrifying.
Yeah.
They are a goddamn terrifying animal.
Yeah.
And they are enormous. I've seen them.
Really?
I saw one grizzly in real life. Well, I've seen them in the zoo. I saw them in a grizzly sanctuary, but I saw one in the forest. It was so creepy, dude.
What is it, just looking at you?
It looked at me. It looked right through me.
How far away?
40 yards, 50 yards. It was really close. Yeah.
Did you have bear spray?
No, we had shotguns, rather.
Oh.
We had to scare it off. We had to,
you weren't trying to kill it?
No, you're not allowed to kill grizzly bears where I was.
They're endangered there?
Yeah, we got lucky that we were just in an area passing through.
Yeah.
It wasn't where we were going ultimately, so we didn't have to worry about it being where we stopped, but it was in an area where we are. And we had guns on us, but It was pretty close to where we were by the side of the road.
Damn.
It's pretty close. It's crazy to look at them, man. They have a different look in their eyes. A grizzly has this like crazy dead look in its eyes, like it's not concerned about you. It's concerned on what it's going to do with you.
Like Crow Cup?
Man, maybe even less. More creepy than Crow Cup.
Remember how bored he looked before fights?
Yeah.
He's just like, let's just do this.
Him and Vandalay, they just fucking Vandalay just pulled out. Vandalay doesn't want to fight him, or something's going on.
Oh, they were going to do one?
They were fighting on New Year's Eve, man.
Oh, that's so soon. Cycling wrong.
I don't know what the fuck happened. But anyway.
So wait, so you track this thing. So you're like, okay, I got one.
Yeah.
Or he's like, I got one. You meet up, and you're like, hey, I found one. How many yards away? How many hours away? Yeah, like a typical one. What would it normally be?
You would like to get as close as you can. But there's a certain distance where if you go any closer, you're going to blow this, because there's no way it's going to see you or it's going to hear you or the wind is bad.
No, but I mean, like, how far away, when you glass it, how far away is that?
Well, the first time we saw it, it was about 100 yards.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I couldn't get the scope set up properly. I was too close to the scope. And I had to realize that I had to sit back a little bit to center it in. And then once I sat back a little bit and centered it in, the fucking deer went behind a rock.
Oh.
So then I was with Steve Ranella. He made this noise, this weird noise he'd made with this little whistle thing he has. And the deer paused for just a second and came out from behind the rock, and I shot it. It just dropped.
Whoa.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was like about 200 yards, and it dropped, and then I had to go over there and finish it off.
Were you even breathing when you shot it the first time?
I was just happy that it worked. You know, because this is the first time I ever shot at anything that was alive, and I'm just squeezing the trigger, and boom, it goes off, and then next thing I know, the deer's legs are up in the air.
Do you remember if you were nervous at all?
I was totally nervous. 100%.
So, like, when it goes behind the rock, you're like, fuck, can't get a beat on it? Are you just like...
the whole time I was nervous. I was trying to stay calm. I was like, wow, this is a tremendously pressure-filled moment.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult to do. You know, like anybody who thinks that hunting in any way is easy, man, it's fucking nerve-wracking. Super nerve-wracking.
How much are you trying to press that guy?
Well, I definitely didn't want to be a bitch around him.
Yeah.
For sure.
Launch
but
him
I was
off the
never
rock.
going to impress him.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that's going to impress him. I mean, he's probably killed... He's been hunting since he was a teenager. He's never
I know, but I mean, like,
a
good job, you did it well.
Oh, well, he did say that, man. He was happy. He was super happy. And I was happy that he was happy, because when someone takes you on, like, in a mentorship role, like, is going to mentor you through something, like, it's an honor in a lot of ways, and it's also a fucking tremendous responsibility for you, because a lot of people would die to be in that position. Like, you better do the most with it. Someone who's a diehard hunter who could go and get this guy Steve Ranella to take him on a guided hunt, like, holy shit, you're so lucky, you know?
Yeah, that is cool.
So I looked at it that way. But when I started eating that deer, we were eating it over the fire.
That night?
That night we ate the liver, and we had liver and heart. We cut out the liver and the heart. We took that back to the camp. And then because we were pretty far out, and we didn't want to carry the deer that night, because we were going to have to butcher it and chop it up, and that takes a long time, and we didn't want to do it that night. So we decided to hang the deer in a tree. So you hang it in a tree so nothing can get to it. But you still, like, cats can get to it, and things can get to it. But we hung it pretty high in the tree, and we took the organs back to the camp. We walked, like, whatever it was, like maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles. And we got back to the camp and cooked the liver and the onions over a campfire, and it was glorious.
That's pretty cool.
That was pretty much when I decided I'm going to do this from now on. Like, this makes sense, because this... I don't feel bad about that animal's life, because that animal lived a wild life. It's the way it's supposed to live. It's as wild as it gets. We were there for 6 days. I saw maybe 3 people.
Really? Oh, that sounds great.
It was amazing.
So what's like? Okay, so when you're out there like that, what's the camaraderie like? Like, is it joking? Is it quiet?
Callan was with us, so it was like an ongoing comedy show. It was all about cocks. It was one long Callan killing set.
Really?
Like him killing, doing stand up. He was so funny, man. He's like, that's where Callan's at his best. And he has like a captive audience like that. Like, he just is such a natural funny guy.
You can't get out of there.
Oh my God, he was the best. We had so much fun. We cried laughing for like 5 days.
So you're allowed to make full noise?
No. This is like back when we were at camp.
Okay.
When we hunted in separate troops. Callan would go off with my friend Ryan Callahan.
Yeah.
And then Ranella and I would go off a different direction. Because if you had all 4 of us going together would make way too much noise. We'd get seen, we'd get heard, and we wouldn't have the same opportunities. So one would go left, one would go right. We just talked about it. You know, you never know why go left, why go right. There's no logic to it. It's like, let's find out where the deer are. We don't really know.
And then we say, let's meet up here in an hour?
No, we would meet up there either at the end of the day. We all knew where the camp was, so we would just go back to camp.
And you both do your own hunt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
So when you are there, so it's a lot of joking. Okay.
It was real fun, man. There's no cell phones. Cell phones don't work.
Hell yes.
And you see every fucking star that Odin ever put in the sky. When you're lying down at night, when you look up, you're like, holy shit.
Damn.
There's no light pollution up there, man. And as long as it's not cloudy, and like one day we were there, the first day we were there, pouring rain, just pouring rain all night, all throughout the night, just freezing cold, pouring rain. But from then on, the rain stopped, the clouds moved out, and it got super, super cold, like into like 9 degrees.
Really?
God damn, the night sky, you would look up and you would just see beautiful stars everywhere, man. And that you would hear weird animals like fucking bouncing off in the distance and shit. And one time we had a deer come into camp while we were sleeping.
Really?
Yeah, he came into camp and he's probably horny. He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. They get horny and they get crazy. And
what do you got? You guys are no.
He smelled that it was people, so he started snorting and stomping on the ground. So he was like outside of our tent, snorting and stomping on the ground because he was upset that he smelled people.
Oh, did you kill it?
No. You can't. You can't even see it. Like It's so dark out. You don't see a goddamn thing unless the moon's out.
Yeah.
And even then, you can't shoot by.
Dude, I love it when you go up to the north of I guess the Pasadena Mountains or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just any of those, but anywhere you can't see any light pollution, and it's like,
right.
Damn, there's a lot of stars.
Oh my God, there's so many stars. Like if you went to out to
Joshua Tree or anything.
Joshua Tree,
yeah.
Palm Springs, out area, go out there. God damn, there's so many stars. There's apparently a day. I was talking about it. Like we should have a day where we all shut our lights off. Apparently, there is something like that.
Where everyone
it's
shuts
a National Light Pollution Day.
Really?
Where they want everybody to just turn off as many lights as possible. Everybody shut the lights off for like an hour or something.
That's cool.
I was just went back to the Keck Observatory in on the Big Island of Hawaii. I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Look at the stars.
Yeah, man. I go to the Big Island specifically to go to that observatory and see the stars. Just to look up from the visitor center, it's so amazing, man. It's like you just see so many stars. This time wasn't as good because this time was a little cloudy. You couldn't see as many as you could. But the one time I went, and it was perfect. There was no moon in the sky. You could see every goddamn star. It was just the full Milky Way galaxy.
Damn, I love that.
God, it's the best. It's the most incredible view that exists,
Yeah.
All these dogs. I thought you told people we should have locked that door. There's a little lock on that door, isn't there?
Should I go lock it?
Nah.
Yeah, that's all
more
right.
drama if it stays
Yeah,
open.
that's fine.
See if they figure it out.
So what happens when you miss? So you're lining up this thing. You're hunting something for a day, maybe.
Yeah, if you miss, you're pissed.
Like, what's the feeling? You've done that where you're lining something up and you're like, time to die.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an exact science. That's why you're not there's people that take, especially rifle hunters, that take these crazy long shots. They'll do 800-yard shots, and they'll shoot an animal 800 yards away. It's really technical stuff. You have to have so many things accounted for and adjusted for because it's traveling 8+ football fields.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hang time. There's boom, and then you'll hear it make impact. Say if you're shooting a metal target, they shoot these metal targets because you can hear the dink. So you hear boom, dink.
Really, that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when it gets out to 800+ yards, that gets real squirrely.
Damn.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad shots are taken at like super long distances. A lot of guys can do it.
They do it to challenge themselves because kids.
Yeah, it's also it's kind of a braggadocious thing in some ways. You shot it from 800 yards out like a fucking savage. And you just dropped it with full confidence. I don't know. It's weird. Like anything, when the degree of difficulty is not high enough to satisfy people, they start doing things to challenge themselves more. And one of the things they do with hunting is they increase the distance. They increase how far away they use a rifle.
How tough a shot it was. Only 1 in 10 men can make that shot.
So then some guys will go to bows. That's not difficult enough. And then if that's not difficult enough, then they go to traditional bows. There's a big movement to do that.
What, just like tie something off yourself?
No, they make what's called recurve bows, which is not even nearly as strong and as fast as a compound bow.
Like the sleepaway camp bows where you really just pull it back?
Yeah. There's a bunch of different kinds. The recurve being the strongest. I mean, you can get some pretty deep. You can kill a lot of things with a recurve, bro, if you're really good at it. I mean, there's guys that can do it, but it's nowhere near as effective as a compound bow. It's not even close. So it's for guys who think compound bows are for pussies.
Like, that's just too easy.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it is, man. If someone does a 10K, then they want to do a marathon. Do you want a marathon? You want to do an ultra.
And go more. Do people tell a lot of hunting stories while they're out there?
Sometimes they're good stories, yeah. I mean, some people have had some crazy goddamn hunting stories. My friend John Dudley told probably the craziest hunting story ever.
Really?
They shot an elk in Alberta, and as they were getting ready to gut the elk and take it out, they got surrounded by wolves.
What?
Yeah. They'd shot an elk in the wolf's territory, or like real close to the wolf's den.
Damn. So they were like, that's ours?
They were surrounded by wolves, and the wolves made a run at them. So they shot one of the wolves, and then another wolf made a run at them. And they shot another wolf, and then another wolf made a run at them. They shot a third wolf. They had their back to the tree, and they had wolves surrounding them howling.
What?
So the wolves were taking inventory of who's still alive, and they howled. Like, they all howled together. And he said there was like 10 wolves surrounding them. And then there was this one alpha male. And he said he looked at the alpha male, he drew back his bow, and the alpha male took off, and they all followed him. And that was it.
Damn.
He had put in his mind that that bow meant that wolves are dying, and that the gun meant wolves are dying. Like, he had to figure it out somehow or another. This guy pointing that thing at me, I got to get the fuck out of here. So the wolf took off, and they wound up pulling the elk out of there.
Wow.
Yeah, they got their elk.
Jesus Christ.
And they got 3 wolves. They killed 3 wolves.
So they get to eat wolf meat?
You could if you wanted to.
I would definitely eat that.
Steve Ranella was telling me the other day that there was some famous hunter from like the 1800s, and wolf was his favorite meal.
Really?
And he loved to eat wolf. How crazy do you have to be to want to eat a wolf?
I just want it bad. I ate a zebra this summer.
Man. You ate a zebra?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Where?
Borough Market in London. Yeah.
What does it taste like?
It's kind of tough, you know, but just meat.
Didn't you eat horse with me in Montreal?
Uh-huh. Yeah, raw horse.
Yeah.
Raw horse meat.
Yeah, we had horse tartare, right? Is that what it was?
Joe's.
God damn, that was good.
Joe's?
Joe Beef.
Joe Beef, there you go.
Montreal. Yeah, man. God damn. So it was a similar zebra?
Nah, it was tougher. It had like the hard pieces in it.
Whoa.
You know, like just tougher.
Gristle.
Yeah, gristle. It was okay though. It was all right. I didn't put too much stuff on it because I wanted to fucking, get into it.
Yeah. Want to know what it really tastes like, right?
Yeah. Did you what was I going to say? It's gone, man. What's the bear hunting like? Because that can come at you, right? At some point.
It can come at you. My friend Jonathan, who's one of the guides up there, they had a wounded bear this past year. Somebody had shot the bear and didn't make a good shot on it.
Oh.
And the bear charged them. And he wound up shooting it with his shotgun 10 feet away from him. The bear got within 10 feet, and he shot it. He's like, literally, I could have touched it with the tip of the shotgun.
10 feet.
10 feet. Charged him. Boom! He shot it right there.
And it just like fell into him?
Well, he shot it in the head, like right in front of him, and it just dropped it.
God.
Yeah. What in the fuck, dude?
Have you eaten the bear meat now?
Yeah. I got some if you want it. I got some bear summer sausage. You can eat it. It's already cooked.
Really?
Slice it. Yeah. I like to reheat it. If you're into crackers, if you eat crackers, it's really good on crackers.
Have you found like cuts of bear that you like over other cuts of bear?
I like bear backstrap.
Really?
Yeah. It's like the...
What do your daughters think of all this stuff?
They've been eating it since they were babies.
Do they know what you're doing?
Oh, yeah.
They don't got like, you killed Yogi
No. They have no worries about that at all. No.
That's pretty good. Because that could go wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Daddy, no, don't go again.
They understand that animals, like when you buy a hot dog, you're buying animals.
Yeah.
It's just somebody else killed the animal. We just explained to them, like, if you want to eat meat, an animal has to die. So far, right now, as of right now, we're really
Yeah.
close to being able to scientifically recreate meat.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they've already done it. It's incredibly expensive right now. It's like the process hasn't been ironed out and turned into mass production, but they're going to be able to do that for sure.
Wow.
They're gonna
Just
be able
what
to
like KFC
test
rumors
tube.
are always.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was way too expensive.
Beakless.
But what they're going to be able to do is they're going to be able to just make just the meat.
Oh, right.
No animal. And so there's
Would
not
you
gonna
be into
an
that?
ethical- I would definitely eat it, yeah. As long as it wasn't bad for you.
Right.
As long as there was any way, like if you could, I mean, boy, you wouldn't want to
Outside
be like one of the
testing.
first people to fucking try it.
No.
I mean, it would be weird if we found out some strange diseases.
Remember when David
coming-
Cameron said there was no more mad cows in London or in England, and he gave his daughter a fucking burger to eat? Prime Minister of London. It might not have been David Cameron, but I think it was. When there was a mad cow scare, and he goes, "It's safe. I'm showing you it's safe." And he let his daughter eat a burger, and people were like, "Jesus, man."
Yeah, man. I have a friend who went over to London during the time where the mad cow shit was going on, and so for the longest time, like he couldn't give blood. He couldn't. Yeah.
Oh, because he was.
Yeah, because you have a quarantine period that lasts a long time because those prions.
It was like taking 10 years for some people to
It
get
can take a long
to come
ass
out.
time, man. It can take a
5
long
minutes.
fucking time.
What time is it about? 10:30?
Yeah.
Okay, we're okay.
It's probably running late though. The store always is.
Usually is. I heard Louis in town too.
Holla.
Yeah, but he didn't come in yesterday, so that's okay. Bette Midler left her glasses there, and Adam was like talking to her husband. Was like, "Yes, yeah, I have them if you want to come in." Like being all, but he like walked away from me. You know, when someone takes a call and they walk away,
Right.
So I just trailed. I was like a foot behind him, and then he got around the corner into his office, and then he started to close the door. But I was like on him. He didn't realize I was still following from the hallway. And I was like, "Is that Mr. Midler? Is that Bette Midler's husband?" So he just starts kicking at me. Shut up! Stop it.
That's hilarious.
You ever want to go big game hunting? Like lions and shit?
No.
No, not at all.
No desire.
Why?
I want to only. I only want to kill things that I'm gonna eat.
You can eat lion?
Yeah, you don't want to. It's not good. It doesn't taste good.
Oh, really?
No. No, the things that taste good are the things you already know taste good, plus like other African antelopes. Like there's a bunch of things like elands and nilgais. There's all these different African antelopes that taste amazing.
Really?
Yeah. There's all sorts of crazy African antelope connoisseurs. I think it's like the best meat in the world.
That's like free range.
Oh, it's as free as it gets. It's from the motherland,
Yeah.
But it's a very perverse system over there. Like most of the hunting that you do over there is behind fences.
What do you mean?
Yeah, Africa has turned into these a lot of the places where people go to hunt are these game parks. These places where they're wild game, but they're all fenced in.
So the borders of the wild game, so it's like the experience, but not like fully out there.
It's real sketchy because you could argue it both ways because there's not a fence in the world that's going to keep most of those animals out. That's the reality. They're not high fences. They're just like 5-6 feet. All these animals, they'd either go through it or over it.
Yeah.
The fence is more of a deterrent to people coming through.
Oh.
Like they have to cut the fence, they have to come through, and they get that all the time. They have poachers. And apparently they wind up shooting the poachers. They treat poachers like you would treat a coyote that was stealing your chickens. They just shoot them. Yeah, dude, my friend was there. When my friend was there, they shot at a poacher. They didn't kill him, but they shot at a poacher in front of him.
Really?
Just fucking saw a poacher, and he's like back up.
That's like allowed?
Yeah, the guy had a gun too, and apparently the guy didn't think that they could see him because he had put some stuff on his face that he thought was black magic.
Yeah.
And so he thought that he had a spell under him. So
No way, for real?
Yeah. So he thought they had a spell under him so that they couldn't see him. So he was coming closer to them because his rifle's like this really makeshift thing. Like it's almost like a musket. Like he doesn't have real bullets like a lot of these poachers. They have like gunpowder that they packed into the barrel of a gun, and then they put like some sort of a projectile in there, and then they have to like light it on fire or something.
Jesus.
To get it to start. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, they're incredibly primitive.
That's way different than the movies and even the pictures.
They do a lot of like leg snares. They're just, most of it is extremely poor people that are trying to steal meat from these parks these animals are all owned by these gigantic ranches, these hunting ranches. So these ranches, people will fly in from all around the world, and they have this just gigantic bounty of wildlife to choose from. Like they have a laundry list of shit they want to shoot.
And you can just go there and
shoot
like, yep.
a zebra.
Okay,
I want to
cool.
shoot
We'll
a
take you to
giraffe.
this place.
I'm here to get a wildebeest and a kudu. I need to get my big 8, and they have like these numbers like that they want to get the big 25. I got the grand slam. I got the super slam. They have like super slams of wild game where they have like numbers of animals that you have to get in order to get a super slam. And
wow.
So these crazy big game hunters that really
they go back like today. I'm going to get my.
They go to collect all the different kinds of animals.
You have no interest in that because you're just there to eat them.
I have zero interest in anything other than shooting deer and elk.
So
and
do you still
taste really
do you
good.
still enjoy boring hunting like fishing?
I love fishing.
You still enjoy that?
Yeah, fishing's awesome. Yeah, I went fishing in Hawaii. It's awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
it is pretty fucking awesome.
Caught tuna and then ate it for lunch.
Really?
Had sashimi that day for lunch. It was amazing.
Hell
yeah,
yes.
man. It's fun, but hunting is more crazy.
Yeah.
It's more scary. It's more primal. It's more nerve wracking.
What are what's the longest you've tracked something before killing it?
Well, a lot of times, like when you first see, like say if you're on a hunt and it's like a 5-day hunt, when you see an animal, that's probably the only time you're going to see it. The only time you're going to see an animal more than once is if they've got like a really established territory and it's the time of the year where like rifles haven't started going off yet and you might be able to see it a second time. But for the most part, when you see an animal, that's your opportunity. You have that opportunity, and that animal might be gone tomorrow, and there might be a new animal there tomorrow. I mean, they roam all over the place, So if you're,
so do you come home with nothing sometimes?
Yeah, a bunch of times. I've had like 4 or 5 complete skunk outs in the last year and a half.
Well, you don't even see anything in the last year and a half, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so disappointing.
Yeah, it sucks, but that has to happen.
But it still semes like it's a good time. You must come back from being out with the guys.
Yeah.
Like just enjoying the fucking stars and stuff.
Yeah. No. It's awesome. It's really fun. It's really fun, man. It's when you go and you're just disconnected from society for just a few days, just that alone.
Yeah.
Just it gives you like a nice reset. But you got to be like really careful who you go with. Because if you're trapped out there with a bunch of dummies,
it's a douche.
It could be bad.
Has that happened?
Yeah, I've had that happen before.
Oh.
I've been trapped out there with some people I didn't want to be
for
trapped
days.
with. Yeah,
of just full on you and me contact.
Well, yeah, you definitely come into contact with them a lot more than you would in the wild of civilization. Yeah. But, it depends on who you're going with. Like, who's that person? Is you work for, like, if you're going for a television show, you might work for the television show. And, like, if you were it was just you, like, say you, me, and Callan.
Yeah, like the regular hunting experience, probably for most dudes, are like, it's time to go off. It's this weekend.
Get a bunch of buddies together, yeah. What I've done a lot of it is, like, guided hunts, which is a little bit different. So you got to go out there with a guide, and the guide may or may not be cool. They might be really annoying. They might say racist shit.
You're just like, we don't know you well enough.
The most 99% of them are very cool, though.
Yeah,
I'm really more talking about other people's experiences that have been relayed to me than my own experiences.
But that's like a thing. People have
it can happen, man. You could be hanging out with the wrong dude, and it can get real annoying.
The guy I went fishing with is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that guy was great. Matt.
Yeah,
Matt from Valley Charters.
What's the drug situation like for these things? Can you do them?
Oh fuck yeah!
So
a lot of guys like to smoke weed.
Yeah,
a lot of guys like to smoke weed.
That seems perfect for that. No worry about the animal catching you.
No, it doesn't matter. Once you're in the camp, you don't do anything until you're in the camp. And once you're back in camp, like animals for the most part, except for that one deer, they're not going to go near you. They're going to smell you. They're going to steer clear of you. Your idea is you make a camp and then you branch out from where that camp is to go hunt. You try to find an area where you think it's a good sheltered area where you're going to set up, and then you go out from there and come back there every night.
And you have cans of food and stuff?
Depends. Sometimes you bring a cooler. They have these coolers called Yetis. You ever see a Yeti cooler? You know what that is?
Mm-mm.
They're fucking crazy, man. They're just like these super duper insulated coolers that have these closures where it's like this fat rubber strap, and you pull it, it snaps in place and just keeps that fucking thing closed. And you can keep ice in there for like 7 days.
Whoa, really?
They're amazing. It's amazing.
And what do you put on your back?
Factor. No, you just leave it in camp.
How do you get it there?
Bring it in there. You drag it in. Either you take it in, like when we were on a boat, we just had them in the boat and we carried them off the boat. You beach
camp
the
right
boat.
Near there.
Yeah, you camp right near there. Or if You get in. It depends on how far you're going to go in. You know, how far you're going to go in from where you can park or where you can. Some people use ATVs. They use like little buggies. Ride those in there. That's real common too.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people do that. They go They also have electric bikes that you can ride now. Where they, I used those in
really?
Iowa. A couple
electric
weeks ago.
bikes?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago actually. Because the idea is you can ride into where the animals are, and they don't recognize you as footsteps because it's just this weird noise of a bike. Like
I've never heard.
And it's rubber on the ground instead of your feet, so you're not leaving these telltale smells everywhere you go. Because your legs, everything about you smells. Everything. I mean, you'd have to like clean your clothes right now and then douse them in ozone. They have these like
so it doesn't smell like
cabinets.
soap.
Yeah, it clings. The ozone apparently, I don't know how it works, but it clings to the odors, to the odor molecules, and it distorts it for the deer.
So you got to spray that on yourself?
You actually like put your clothes in a closet and zip it up like a thing that hangs up, and it blows ozone all over your clothes.
Whoa.
Yeah, people go to great lengths. So we rode these electric bikes. They're like assist bikes. So like once you start pedaling, the electric motor kicks in. It gives you a big assist. And it makes like 5 or 6 times easier to pedal the bike.
That's
so
cool.
that as you're riding, it's super easy to pedal.
And you just take paths there?
Yeah, and you don't get sweaty. Because the key is when you're in cold weather, you don't want to get sweaty and then stand still.
Why?
Because if you walk to where you're going to go and you exert yourself, you heat up and then you sweat, then when you cool off, you fucking freeze to death.
Oh.
And a lot of people, especially before they figured out merino wool, a lot of people would fucking literally freeze to death.
Really?
Yeah.
With the sweat?
But wool allows you, because it's a natural fiber, it allows you to be warm even if you're wet. Wool's kind of incredible in that way.
I'm allergic to wool.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow. Poor bitch.
Yeah, it's terrible. A lot of blankets you can't sleep out at your friend's house.
Do you get itchy? Like what
Super
happens?
itchy. My eyes get watery and red.
Oh.
Runny nose.
No shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, what is it about being out there? Because I've gotten into hiking lately a bunch. Mm-hmm. What is it just being like on regular dirt ground?
Well, because I think we have a natural connection. I mean, it sounds like so hippie, right? It sounds so bullshit.
Yeah.
Natural connection with nature. Sounds like I'm trying to sell a seminar. You know, there's a natural connection with nature that we need to get back to, America. I want to urge you to go with me to the woods.
On the nature
We're
walk.
going to hug trees. But Les Stroud, Survivor Man, he was joking around about that once. He's like, people always call you like a tree hugger or something like that. He goes, honestly, go hug a tree. You will feel better. It's like if you're out in the woods, you will feel better.
It feels good to touch trees and just to like be out there, the smell and I don't know, just sitting down on the ground
That's where
outside.
we came, man. We came from that. We came from the wild.
Yeah.
We absolutely 100% at one point in time didn't live in cities. That's the reality of human beings. We absolutely were.
Sure, absolutely.
Like every other animal, we were connected to actual nature itself. But we figured out a way to insulate ourselves in a way where we think like this room with these artificial lights
is natural.
Or both holding microphones. We think this is normal.
Yeah.
Right? This is crazy.
But then you can be out there too long too. I feel like it's like once in a while we just need a reset of like just stick it back to it.
Hey man, don't get me wrong. Civilization's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, internet is awesome. Having a TV is awesome. All those things are great. That's not the problem. The problem is a perspective problem. That if you're around civilization all the time, you start thinking that this is life. That this makes sense. This is one way to live life. But around you, all throughout the world, there's a natural life going on that has nothing to do with people. And when you're hunting, you're dipping your toes into that natural world, and that's where you're getting your food. You're going out into the actual wild of tooth, fang, and claw. Is what a lot of people like to describe the wild as, like tooth, fang, and claw.
Because you use that.
That's what they're doing. They're fucking getting each other. I mean, it's just a hail of things eating each other.
Yeah.
And you just go out there and you dip your fucking toe into the game. And then you come back with a deer. I mean, that's really what it is. And it's not like there's not a whole lot of deer. There's so many deer. There's more deer in this country now than when Christopher Columbus landed in wherever the fuck he landed.
Really?
Yeah, there's more deer now than ever before because of modern large-scale agriculture.
Yeah.
The deer population's exploded.
Oh, they're in my parents' backyard all the time.
Oh, they're everywhere.
But you just gotta be careful of deer ticks. That's the only problem.
Do you know? Yeah, take a guess. How many people get in car accidents with deer every year in the United States?
70. Well, no, because you asked that way. 230.
1.5 million.
you were letting me get closer to my number that wasn't even close. 1.5 million?
200 deaths every year.
Wow.
1.5 million car accidents.
Wow.
Yeah, there's something like 100,000 every year in Michigan alone. 100,000 car accidents involving deer.
From deer. So you're saying there's plenty. So
there's more than plenty, dude.
Do you feel a societal backlash against your love of hunting?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people get angry. A lot of people get mad that you kill any animal. Why would you kill a beautiful animal like an elk or a moose?
But then in relation to like what you were saying, it's like, yeah, it's better than to keep one captive and then kill it. Isn't
it's way better than that. And some people see it that way. I've talked to some people that respect it, that are vegans, but respect it because they go, I like what you do because you're not trying not to buy meat. You're trying to get your meat, and there's no guarantee you're going to be successful, and you got to work at it, man. If I get an elk, I'm going to be out most likely. I mean, one time I went on a trip, and I got super lucky, and I shot an elk within the first 2 hours. We were out there at 6:30 in the morning, and by 8:30 in the morning, we had an elk down.
And then what do? Just go back and walk around, have some good times?
My hunt was over. We cut the animal up. We carried it out of there. We got it in the back of a truck. We drove it back to this.
Didn't even camp.
Cold hell. No. I didn't even. I spent one night at this ranch, and then in the morning we set up. It was just one of those wild days. Like sometimes elk get fucking crazy when they get super horny and they start fighting, and we're hearing them fighting, smashing their heads into each other, just clash, clash, like baseball bats banging off each other. They're headbutting each other, trying to establish dominance. These two giant elk, and then I saw another one that came like really close to me, and one more that came really close to me. And this is all like in the first couple hours. And then we set up behind a tree, and this guy, Brian, who is my guide, made this cow call, which is like a female elk, like, meh, meh, meh. This noise that female elks make when they're horny. And this male elk came running up this hill with a hard-on. Like, they're screaming, and they might be coming on themselves or pissing on themselves or something, but there's all this, like, dick liquid that's, like, all over their underside. They're so horny.
What?
And we're talking like 1,000-pound animal. And it's running up this hill screaming. You ever heard an elk scream?
No.
You want to hear what it's like?
Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it.
I'll play a video so you can actually hear it, because I made some videos of when we were hunting.
Yeah.
Because it was so fucking cool. Because when they do it, it's this really bizarre sound, man. It sounds like a Lord of the Rings animal.
You got pictures of those abandoned houses?
No, I don't, man. I don't on this phone.
Oh.
I do have them at home.
Send it to me later.
On this phone. Yeah, I definitely will. Yeah. I must. I have also pictures of Callan taking a shit, and we made a flag with aluminum foil, and we put it in his shit.
What do you shit? How do you shit? How do you wipe?
You have to shit outside.
Yeah.
And then you have to wipe, and then once you wipe, you have to bury everything or burn it.
Burn the toilet paper.
Yeah, burn the toilet paper. In Montana
and bury your shits?
Rules. Yeah, Montana has special rules.
You have to bury your own shit?
You have to bring your shit with you.
No way.
Yeah, you have to. You have a bag because they don't want you shitting out there and polluting the environment.
What do you mean? How would it pollute it?
You literally have to shit into a bag. Hold on a second. Come on, you fuckers. Those are birds. That ain't it. Here it is, man.
How?
Here it is. You hear that?
That's the male screaming?
That's a bull elk calling out for pussy.
Please, someone fuck me.
He's just dominating his like harem of girls. He has a harem of girls. That one particular elk, we didn't shoot him. We tried to get close to him. We never could. But that particular elk had 6, 7 cows with him. He's just banging them and screaming. And other elks would try to come near his cows, and he'd be like, fuck you, and he'd head them off. It's fascinating stuff. So that one day was just like a quick one. I was behind this tree, and he makes this cow call, and this elk comes walking up the hill. And when he got inside of 20 yards, I just shot him with an arrow.
8:30 in the morning.
8:30 in the morning, and he had no idea what happened because an arrow doesn't make any noise. So like he all of a sudden an arrow went through his body, and he walks off. He knows it doesn't feel good, so he walks off like real slow. And then I put another arrow into him.
Really? Yeah. You lean back again. You're like, you're not going anywhere.
Well, I knew he was dead. Like that was a dead elk, but I wanted to make sure. So when an animal's standing in front of you, you shoot it again because it was definitely going to die within seconds.
Yeah.
And then it walked like maybe 8 steps and just tipped over. It was the perfect like death by bow and arrow.
Damn.
That was like probably the most successful day.
You find that more satisfying than bow and arrow? Feels more like your own hands?
It's way harder to do.
Yeah.
It takes way more practice. It's way more intense. You got to be way closer. Because with a bow and arrow, you really can't shoot anything 100 yards away. With a rifle, 100 yards away is easy. With a bow and arrow, you're not really going to shoot anything further than 40, 50 yards at the most.
Really?
You have to be like a super confident archer to shoot anything more than 60 yards. And you'd have to be really confident that thing's not going to be walking.
Yeah.
Because if you release the arrow and it takes a step,
It's going
it
right
might
through it.
have a step before the arrow gets to it. So there might be a completely different spot where that arrow's going to hit than where you were aiming. So it's not really ethical if the animal's moving. You got to be like really sure. Like
The ethics are you want to kill it instantly.
Like if you saw an elk and the elk was feeding and it was 60 yards and you're a badass like, John Dudley archer and you saw that, you'd feel super confident. It's a big animal.
Right.
If it's feeding, it's not going anywhere for a couple seconds. And you would draw back and make the shot. But you'd have to be like that kind of level of a guy to do that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You have to really know what you're doing.
Are you worried about humans at all?
No, hitting them?
Yeah, them being around?
No, there's no one anywhere near you. And, you're not going to mistake an animal for a person. First of all, you're going to see something, then you're going to range find it.
Yeah.
Like if you see an animal, you don't just look at it and go, I got to shoot it now. You range find it. So if the animal's like, 40 yards, whatever, you look through this binocular handheld thing that shoots a laser out to that spot and then comes back and tells you the exact yardage. Then you have the sight on your bow and you move the scale on the sight to whatever the yardage that the rangefinder says. So if I see an elk and it's 43 yards, I move my sight to 43 yards, then I draw back. Then I center the pin on the elk and everything has to be perfect or you don't do it.
Oh.
If
the wind kicks up or something?
Everybody's made shitty shots, but the wind picks up, you have to like be real careful. You have to be super confident in your setup. You have to be super confident in how your arrow is going to react. You have to know this. You have to have already shot in the wind.
Do some guys not use the scope and the laser?
Yeah. There's guys that do it what they call
Game of Thrones
instinctive. They do compound bows too that way. Some guys do. Most people don't though. Most people use a scope, not a scope, but a sight that has pins on it that are, sometimes they're fixed pins where there would be like these fiber optic like dots. One's at 20, one's at 30, one's at 40, one's at 50, one's at 60. Yeah. And so they would figure out where the animal is, and they have a pin for that, and they would look through their scope, or look through their sight rather, at that pin. And then some of them have one that moves, so you could calculate it down to the very yard, or even to the very foot.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Cool.
It's very tech-oriented.
It seems fun, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's super fun. Archery in itself, if you never shoot anything, is super fun.
Yeah. And those targets?
Yeah.
Like, they have that at camp, but that's about it.
Yeah, but these targets are like, come by my house next time you're around, and I'll shoot some shit from like 70 yards. I'll show you what it's like to see, like, we'll look at it through binoculars and you'll see me hitting like this big rubber elk at 70 yards, because I practice just drilling it in the heart at 70 yards. Yeah, I do it all the time.
You have a dummy elk out there?
A giant one.
Oh, so why shoot it at a target instead of an actual?
I want to shoot it. Like? I want to shoot at something that looks exactly like what I'm trying to kill. It's a mind fuck, dude. It's a giant mind fuck. Like, it's really hard to do. And the whole thing becomes about being sharp enough, being skilled enough, making sure you have all your ducks in a row, as far as like you've taken your time on you have to put your time in practicing. You have to practice almost every day, especially when it gets close to a hunt. Yeah. Especially archery. You got to
be in this zone
almost every day. You have to know that when you release that arrow is going exactly where you point it to. And the only way to do that is reps. But you have to do the proper technique and reps. You got to release the arrow the correct way. It has to be a surprise shot, or should be at least. Some guys can get away without doing it in a surprise way. But the way to do it is you're supposed to be pulling on the shot, blank, and it breaks, and you don't even know when it's going to break. So you can never anticipate it. And so your main focus is just on technique, form, and making sure that arrow releases properly. It's a giant mind fuck.
It just comes out of your hand eventually, just like it's out of your hand?
Yep. It's just you have a release that sits in your hand, and I have like a trigger that sits on my thumb, and the release clips to the string. And as I pull back, I lock it in place, and then I put my finger where the trigger is, and then from there I just pull back. So I'm not executing it with my thumb. I'm using like my back muscles to pull, and it creates tension on the trigger, and then it goes off surprise. So that way there's no anticipation. So this whole thing is involved in this gigantic mind fuck of staying calm while you're about to end an animal's life with a flying stick. Super intense. Yeah. I have to do everything I can to not keep from getting fully, completely obsessed with it to the point where I ignore other shit in my life.
Really?
Like, for real, yeah. If the UFC called, like, there was this rumor that the UFC was firing me and they're going to hire Mario Lopez. It wasn't real. It was just a fake story. But if it was true, you know what I would do? I'd go, looks like I'm scheduling some bow hunting trips.
Really?
That's the first thing I would think of is, now I could do a lot of trips.
How many do you do a year? How many do you want to do a year?
Last year I did... This past year I did at least 5.
Wow.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I did 4 this last year.
And you can't go in the winter.
Why do I think I did 5?
Do you ever want to go to South America or something like that and like chase?
You can go to Texas in the winter.
Oh.
You can go to Mexico. Mexico's a good spot. A lot of guys go down there in December and January, and they go deer hunting. There's a lot of deer down there. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of places you can go, and the guys who get really, really into it, they travel all over the country and just find like where the places are that you apply for tags, and then they start applying for tags are like, there's certain places where they have limited tags where you can only, like, the population is sustainable and very healthy, but the way they deem it, they say, well, we can only shoot 100 deer this year, and the likelihood of success is usually like somewhere around 10 to 20%. So they'll, if they can only shoot 100 deer, they'll give out only 1,000 tags. So there might be, 1 million people.
And that way they can like keep the population about what they want it.
Exactly. So if it's a really good place to hunt, there might be, who knows how many thousands of people that want to sign up and go there, but only one out of 100 or something gets to go.
Oh, so they just go tag hunting, and then if they get one, like, cool, we're hunting there.
And then there's other places where you can get a tag automatically. There's other like regions of the country where you could get a tag. Like, all you have to do is just pay for it. You just have to go there and fill out.
After you kill it and it drops, you have to go over there and slice its throat or anything?
No.
Be careful, it's not going to buck up and stab you.
You let it die. You know, usually they just lay down and they die. It usually happens pretty quick if you did it right.
Yeah.
And then once they're dead, then you have to clean them. You have to gut them.
How do you know when they're dead?
You'll just know. It'll be just laying there. You poke it with your rifle or you poke it with your bow.
It doesn't do anything.
And you could tell it's dead. It's intense, man, and I can see I could see where people would not want to ever be involved in it once they saw life actually leave an animal
violent,
itself. Right? It is very violent, but if you're rational, if you have a really balanced perspective, you have to understand that this is a natural part of this animal's existence. It's a constantly engaged in this cycle of life, and if it's not you killing it, that thing's not going to live forever. It's going to get taken out by mountain lions or coyotes. It's living in a zero success game. That game is try to stay alive forever.
Yeah.
You're never going to stay alive forever. None of them die of old age.
None of them do?
No, they freeze to death. They wind up freezing to death. That's what happens when they get old. They wind up having no food, and so they freeze to death. Like maybe they grind their teeth down too much and they can't eat good anymore, or maybe they get injured, like something tried to kill them and it couldn't, and they had gotten away from a mountain lion or something like that, but they're crippled. And then, a bunch of things can happen to a deer, and freezing to death is a super common one.
Yeah. I love going walking and come across some carcass or something.
It's weird.
Some just skeletons. We took some mushrooms there in Banff. Just like, I guess here's a good spot. Just some fucking remnants of an animal.
Creepiest ones I've ever saw ever. It's circulated online. Is this deer fell in between two rocks, and you see just the skeleton of the deer where it's trapped
up
in between two rocks. It slid and got stuck.
And just died there.
Just got
and
stuck
wasted away?
Just wasted away.
Wow, cool.
It was fucking creepy, man. Because it was only bones, but it was still stuck. and you could see its skull and its antlers just stuck in between these two rocks. Like, fuck, what a way to go.
Yeah.
Probably takes a long ass time too.
Yeah, just to starve to death and then just be done.
Oh my God, man. Fuck that. But it connects you to like your own vulnerability too. It connects you to an understanding of life. And that life is this weird thing. Like life is out there eating life. You know, and I could, again, like I goof around about vegans, but I could totally understand you not wanting to be a part of death and totally thinking that people should have like a higher function in life. But
yeah, man, I don't want to go out and I don't have to do that. I'd rather someone just do that work for me.
Yeah, I can understand that too.
But it is nice to like cook food instead of like buying cooked food, you know? Like cooking it yourself feels like you're a part of it, and like every step towards being more part of it. Like Duncan said about like your food, you have a story behind it.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of cool. We're like this one we tracked for 2 days. One day we thought we lost it or whatever, and
it's intense, man. It's really intense. It's intense in a different way. It's intense in a different way that I don't think I've ever. I don't think I've ever felt anything where I didn't expect it so much. Like the hunting thing was so intense. I was like, wow, like this is some crazy ancient DNA that this taps into. When you, all of a sudden you've killed an animal, it's very shocking and it's very weird, and there's a sense of loss, but it's also like very caveman-y. Like your body just like goes, yeah, we did it, we got one. Like there's this like intense feeling of a familiarity, you know, like. You know what? I think that's the same thing when you catch a fish. There's this intense excitement when you catch a fish.
I did it, I got one.
There it is. I mean, when we went salmon fishing in Alaska, we caught all those big-ass salmon. Yeah. Dude, every time we hooked one, it's like, holy shit, look at this thing.
Yeah, your heart starts to be like, go.
You see it when it's close to the boat. Look at it.
Yeah.
It's like there's something.
Yeah, you can when you see it in the water, you just start seeing it. Like, there it is,
It's flashing. See the flashes of its body.
Yeah.
There's something about fishing and then hunting even more extreme where your body is like excited about your success in this endeavor.
Wow. Compare it to being in Boston and getting into a fight. The same with those Guidos, like, who's coming? Let's try to fight.
Go back and help those kids. We do not have to live like this, beating each other up every weekend. God damn it. We didn't really talk too much about the hunting, did we? We did a little bit.
No, we talked plenty about it.
I'm so high.
Oh, yeah, we talked a lot about it.
I'm so baked.
Oh, yeah,
I just know
sure.
I got to go to
we got to
go to the comedy store.
Your new special's on Netflix now,
yes,
Triggered?
It's on Triggered.
Real inspiration, man. That you're 27, 8 years into comedy, something like that, and you put out your best work is coming
I think
now.
It's my best one.
Yeah. Well, that's usually a long, on the already downturn way. For it to be hit on that high level now is like what's somebody doing right?
Yeah, you know what it is, man? It's like people just get tired and lazy, and they just decide that they already did it, and then they get depressed. I don't know, man. I don't think everybody does that. I mean, if you look at like Burr, his best stuff is now, and Louis, his best stuff is now. I think there's a lot of Chappelle is fucking amazing now. I think there's a lot of guys that are better now than ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's just we're used to like that. There was
hopping off. It's like 15, 20 years, and then just start to do shitty.
Guys just well, this is all before the internet too, and I think a big part of what's going on is like what you do a lot now. What I do is you throw everything away every 2 years. Yeah. You have to. You're gonna toss out whatever that set you were working on. Toss it out. Try to piece together some new one.
Yeah, I'm 3 weeks. I haven't done a single bit from the old stuff. Crazy. I'm like not one, not even a minute. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
but that keeps you growing and developing. I better go.
Okay. Thank you, Joe Rogan.
Thank you, Ari Shaffir.
Go to Twitter, Joe Rogan. I'll do all this stuff later. Bye.
After the new days mist, I run.